Attack here, and this is my video review of the Star Ultrastar 9mm semi-automatic pistol. So a little bit of history on this particular gun and the manufacturer who made it, for those who may not know a lot about it. Star was a company based in Spain. It was part of the big three there. It was Star, Llama, and Astra, if I'm saying that right. In 1997, Star and Astra merged together to become A-Star. I don't have a lot of information about them after the 1990s, and I don't know how many of their products were actually imported into the United States. But Star had been a company that prior to 1997 had been in business for almost 100 years. And they were predominantly imported by Interarms. There were a few other importers, but Interarms, as you can see on the slide, was probably their biggest importer towards the end. And they were well known for guns like this, compact weapons, subcompact weapons, for plainclothes carry and concealed carry in the markets where that was legal. And they're probably best known for their PD, which was a aluminum alloy framed semi-automatic 45 ACP that was kind of 1911-ish, and that was very popular in the 1970s. And then they're also known for a BM, which was a single stack, I believe all steel 9mm compact that was very popular in the 1980s and 90s. And then in the 90s they came out with the Firestar line and this Ultrastar line that were very popular, in this case polymer framed, and in the Firestar case alloy framed and steel framed pistols that were fairly popular. They also had full-size pistols like the Model 28, which was in the XM9 trials for the United States service pistol, and the Model 30, which was the Spanish Armed Forces primary service weapon, service pistol for many years, and then the Model 31, and then also the Megastar, which was a beast of a 10mm. I think it was also manufactured in 45. So though they had many different pistol designs, and it was a shame that they went out in 1997. They had a lot of real interesting guns, and especially this one. This wasn't the last model they designed, but it was probably the pinnacle of their design. This particular pistol that I have was manufactured in 1996, and I got that from the data codes. There's data codes and proof marks on the underside of the frame here, and that told me that it was manufactured in 1996. You can kind of research those online to find out more information about that, the proof marks and data codes and stuff like that. So this particular pistol, was the Ultrastar, was their venture into the polymer framed market, and that's kind of where the market was going, and they came out with this. And I bet if they had you know, stayed around, they probably would have been pretty popular because they were an affordable, very compact pistol. So moving in on that note into design, this is a polymer frame pistol, a compact that is, go ahead and give you some specs real quick on it. Has an overall length of less than 7 inches, has an overall height of less than 5 inches, has a width of just over an inch at its fattest point, but its frame is only an inch, and its barrel length is 3.5. and it has a 9-round magazine, and I think the 40 Smith & Wesson they made in an Ultrastar had an 8-round magazine. So its weight with an empty magazine is 737 grams, 737 grams, and 26 ounces. So it is very light and very compact. And getting into its design, it has ribs that go down through here and in the frame. That's to make the frame stronger, and it also had steel reinforcement that you may be able to see when we do the field strip that was in the frame to make it stronger. And it has a steel back strap, which is very interesting. This is a whole segment that holds the mainspring, the hammer, and the lock work for the trigger, kind of almost like a SIG does. And you pushed out that pin and you hit this stud right here, and it'd come out, and it just made the rear of the pistol and where all the lockwork was and everything very strong. And it's like a metal chassis inside a polymer frame, which is becoming more popular with pistols like Grand Power and the way that the Smith & Wesson M&Ps are made. So this was kind of a forerunner of all that, or just a design feature that Star wanted to put into maybe cautiously going into making their first polymer frame pistol. But what it really does is makes the pistol very strong. There's very little flex in it. When you're shooting it, there's very little flex in it, like you kind of see with other polymer frame pistols that have a little bit of give to them. This one just doesn't, and it's very comfortable to shoot because of that. So my philosophy of use for this pistol, because it's a compact, is just real simple. It's a concealed carry weapon, a defensive weapon. That's where it's going to stand out the most, because it still has pretty good grip length to it. It feels very comfortable in the hand. Okay, so we're going to talk about ergonomics and the trigger and controls and everything. To start off with, this is a double action, single action pistol, which means it's a TDA, traditional double action. As such, it has a safety. So I'll go ahead and show you that. Show you first that the pistol is unloaded and there's no ammo on the table. So with the hammer back, you can actuate the safety by pushing it up, and that puts it on safe. And if you know anything about stars, that means the firing pin gets retracted. So the hammer and the trigger are still functional, but the firing pin is retracted in there so it won't strike the cartridge. The hammer won't strike the firing pin, will strike the cartridge or anything like that. That makes it nice because it's an interesting feature where you can practice with it, dry firing and stuff, and the firing pin is retracted in there. So it's just kind of an interesting feature. Moving past that, decocks it and drops the hammer, and you can just put it back on safety. As you notice, this is facing rear. Sometimes on most pistols that have these safety decocker levers, they face forward and you actuate them down rather than up. Star did this where it was facing rear and you actuated it up instead of down because I guess they thought it was more ergonomic, or it's something they wanted to do different. I don't care either way, it works. So the safety decocker levers are ambidextrous, and this is your slide stop release lever, so you release the slide like that. And then this is your magazine release button, and I believe it is interchangeable to either side so that it can be ambidextrous. I'm not 100% certain about that, don't quote me, but I think it can be. So moving right along to sights. Oh, also, this gun does not have a magazine safety. Star loved magazine safeties, and most of the pistols had it. This one does not. This is one of the only ones I know that they made that doesn't have one. So moving right along to sights. These are 3-dot sights, white. They're kind of on the smallish side, but it's no big deal to me. Just something to take into account. The rear sight is drift adjustable from right to left. That is the only adjustment for it. Moving right along to the trigger, I'll go ahead and pull to show you the double action trigger. And it's kind of on the heavy side, kind of, I don't really feel like it's long, but it is kind of on the heavy side. People that are used to double action triggers will be just fine. People who really aren't used to them may have some adjustment. They have to get used to that. I'll go ahead and show you the reset on it. Okay, there's a reset on the double action trigger. So it's not very far. There are other pistols that are a lot farther than that. And then the single action trigger is clean and crisp, not a lot of take up. I do like that. This is a really wide trigger. I like that. Some other people might not, but I kind of like how wide that trigger is. Gives me a lot of purchase on it. And this is a notch to keep the trigger from over traveling. So that's pretty cool. So moving right along to the feel of it and its ergonomics. It has this stippling on the frame and then on the back strap, and the front strap has these nice finger grooves and this sort of obnoxious, or I feel it's obnoxious, trigger guard, which was kind of just, you know, in vogue back then in the late 80s, early 90s. So that is a little bit on ergonomics. We're going to talk about accuracy here. This is from 5 yards, and this is a 6-inch circle. This is my first shot, and I flew the double action shot over the top there of the circle. And then the 4 sequential shots were single action. This is a 2, 3, 4, and 5. 4 and 5 are touching. And other than flying the double action shot, that's pretty good accuracy for a pistol with a 3.5-inch barrel. This pistol is a lot more accurate than I can be, shaky hands and all, but this was shot through the viewfinder for sort of a POV look for you, and kind of shot to the right. But even with shooting to the right, it still had some fairly good groups out of this 10-shot grouping. And then this was probably my best shooting, best grouping at 5 yards that I did, and you know, all 5 are in there, and they are very nice and tight together and touching with inside the 6 in the very center. So this pistol is very accurate. It can be very accurate. This is from 25 yards. Did this off camera, and I have a shot over here on the left and a shot over here on the right, and then my 2 shots up here. There's 5 shots at 25 yards. I don't know where the 5th shot went. This is the corner of the target, probably flew it over. But anyways, this is some pretty good shooting though at 25 yards. At least these 2 very close. This is you know, 6 inches across. This is still combat effective. At least that's what I tell myself. And it still shows that the pistol, even in my shaky hands, even with the 3.5-inch barrel, and even with being a compact pistol, is still very accurate. So, also going to talk about accessories. I don't really know a bunch of accessories for it. I have a holster. I don't have it shown on the table, but I have a holster for it that was that lists it as being one of the pistols that'll fit in it. And then I have a couple other holsters that I use that are made for other pistols that it'll still fit in. I only know of the 9-round magazines from the factory available for it. I don't know of any other aftermarket magazines. I don't know of any aftermarket sites or anything like that. Something that had to be done custom. I really don't know of a lot of aftermarket accessories that are available for it, really. Value, I think I paid like $300 or $350 for this, and I have a couple mags for it. So I mean, great value when you can find them. They used to have them on Gunbroker quite a bit, going for about $300, $350. And even when they were brand new, they didn't sell for much more than that. So durability and reliability, it's very durable, as I've already talked about how stout it is made. And then its reliability, I've never had a single malfunction with it. Not that I've shot it a ton, but never had a single malfunction with it. And I've never really heard of anybody that had an Ultrastar or a Star in general, Star pistol in general, having a real big issue with it. So as far as the track record, anybody I've met or heard about that had an Ultrastar really liked it, and I think that says the world of the pistol, that these many years later, guys that have them keep them around. So thanks for watching. That was my video review of the Ultrastar 9mm pistol. I'll also be doing a separate video with the field strip, and it kind of goes hand in hand with this, and we'll show you some of the things I was talking about when I got it disassembled. So go ahead and take a look at that too.